live.
Yes.
Alrighty, Conversations with Kara-Leah coming to you from the couch. I got Coryn Smith sitting beside me today. This is Coryn from NourishMe. So Coryn and I met 2 years ago now on Halloween. Right. We were trick-or-treating with our kids. We didn't even talk. Like literally, I was kind of dancing around. I think I had my Yui Boom with me, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and we started dancing together. That was our first connection. And I was watching her dance, and I'm just like, this woman's done some partying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and then we tried to work out how we knew each other, didn't we?
Yeah, because it was like there was such a connection. And as it turned out, we didn't know each other.
No.
But we had both lived in Whistler I was there for 7 years.
And I was there for 1 year.
Yeah. And I knew your boyfriend.
I know. Sliding doors.
Sliding doors.
Yeah.
So Coryn and I got talking and we discovered that, we have a whole lot in common. We are both single mothers. We both run our own business and we both work with sort of mind, body, spirit healing. And I was like, I got to get Coryn on the show. So welcome, Coryn.
Hey, thank you.
Oh, so tell us about NourishMe. What's your business all about?
Yes, okay. So NourishMe I started NourishMe 17 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, 17 years. So I finished my training 17 years ago as a naturopath and a massage therapist. And it's always been part-time. So I've worked in clinics and other people's clinics. Mm-hmm. I've worked as an in-store naturopath. Mm-hmm. And then it's sort of, you know when you start something and it starts at one thing and then it grows into something else.
The evolution.
Yeah. And so where I'm at now with it is I apply my work and what I've done into what I do with clients. Right. And so I'm a naturopath, a herbalist, and a massage therapist. Mm-hmm. And so when people come to see me and they have one-on-one consultations, we go through and sit down and go, okay, what's going on for you? Right? So we look at what's going on for you, where you're at, and then we kind of make a bit of a plan, okay? And it's interesting because even though I'm really intuitive, and I tend to work quite intuitive with the massage, with the naturopathy.
Love that word, naturopathy.
I know, right? I can't spell it.
Yeah.
Science is caught up with intuition almost.
I love that. Yeah, it's happening more and more, right?
Yeah.
Like what we directly know, science is beginning to go, oh yeah, it's real. Duh.
Absolutely. I know, right? I know.
Yeah.
Science has just discovered.
Yeah, and you're like, we knew this for a long time.
Yeah.
So your naturopathy?
Yes. Yes.
So you've got that, which is the scientific side as such, and then your intuition, and they kind of blend?
Yeah. So as a naturopath, now I can use functional testing. Okay.
Okay, so what is functional testing?
Yeah, so good question. What is functional testing? Yeah. So it means that when someone comes to see me and goes, right, I'm feeling like this, this, and this.
Right. I'm super tired and I'm really irritated.
And all that kind of stuff. I can, in my head, I can go, okay, well, I think this, this, and this is going on.
Right. So that's your intuition.
And my training. Yeah. And the symptoms and all of that. But now we've got functional testing, which people can literally put a little swab in their mouth, so it's a DNA test.
Right.
Some of it's DNA testing.
Yeah.
So the big buzzword is epigenetics.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that word too.
Yeah, it's very cool. And then there's other type of functional testing.
So that saliva or whatever the test is then goes off to a lab.
Yep.
And they come back with some report that has all the...
That's right.
Yes. So it's like hard data.
Hard data.
Yeah.
Hard data, man.
Yeah.
And then there's other ones that, you can test. My God, you can find out what, dysbiosis is a big fancy word for imbalance. Dysbiosis. Ooh. So it's imbalance in the gut, right?
Right.
And why is that relevant to you and me? Because it can have symptoms of low energy, not being on top of your game, you know? And so now we can go in and we can go, okay, we can see exactly what's going on in your gut. We can see what's in there, what bad bacteria is in there, what viruses, and then we can work with it. So what I do is I do functional testing, but also it's interesting, we were talking before, it's like, it's all very well just doing the functional testing, right? And all very well saying to someone, right, eat this, eat that. But the big thing for me is finding your bliss.
Yeah, when you said that, and you're like, I help people find their bliss, I'm like, how do you define that? What does bliss look like?
Yeah, it's big, isn't it? And I think for people it's probably a bit different, but I think for me and from a lot of the people that I've spoken to on, you know, on retreats and one-on-one consultations, is when we're out of our integrity, when we're out of our alignment, we're not in that place of bliss, and we can't really communicate with what our body needs. You know, and our body is that, you know, that body intelligence that you step out of. You know, for me it's stepping out of here, you know, stepping out of that intellectual, this is what I should do, you know, should smud, you know, and then stepping into the body and going, this is what feels good, you know.
So the people that come to you, how in their heads are most of them? Are they tuned in and listening to their bodies, or is that part of the journey that you take them on as well?
Good question. And absolutely, I think when people come to see me, something's not quite right.
Yeah.
You know, and they may have gone to the GP, they may have gone to specialists, or that just something's not quite right. And so what I'm seeing is that's part of the journey. That's part of the journey, saying to people, hey, ask some questions like, what does my body want? You know?
So like just talk directly to your people don't understand that though. That because you have to be able to listen.
Yes.
And you actually have to be able to feel your body.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's a really big transition.
Yeah.
And it's a real key for me. It's freaking exciting.
Yeah.
Because for me it's a real key to holistic health.
Yeah.
It's a real key. And when I first finished my training, it was all about kind of eating the right foods, doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
Like externally imposed upon the body.
Yes, nice.
Yeah.
Like
rather
that.
than internally realized.
Yeah. That's the one. That's the one.
In your own journey of self-development or personal development, were you more in your head earlier, or were you always in tune and aware of what your body was saying to you? You know.
I think we naturally become into our head more as children, like as we grow out of being children, and then society kind of tells us do's and don'ts, and not to trust that intuition. And so I definitely went through a phase where I tried to block that completely.
Block the intuition? Yeah.
Absolutely. And not trust that body intelligence, right?
Did it work?
Oh.
Where did that lead you?
No. Down a few gun paths.
Yeah.
And not fun ones.
Yeah, I bet,
you know,
right?
But
so what brought you back around then to the body? To your own intuition, to your own power?
I think it was a few different things. I think, but when I think of it straight away, when you ask me that question, I automatically think of my dad passing 6 years ago. So prior to that, I was intellectually aware of getting into my body.
Right. I got it. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I could kind of spout it off prior to 6 years ago, you know, and even talk to my clients about it, you know, but it wasn't until my dad died quite unexpectedly.
Right.
So it wasn't until the trauma of my dad dying that I completely went into my vulnerability. I completely found a place that I'd never found before.
Wow. Not even on substances?
It's different, right? Yeah, because when you're on substances, for me, there is a disconnect.
Yeah, right.
And there's an escape. You know, that's my experience with that.
Because I know that for me, I took mushrooms in Whistler one time.
Yes.
I mean, I took them way more than one time. But this one time,
yeah,
when I took mushrooms, they took me into really deep grief around my parents' divorce. And it was actually the first time that I'd ever had an embodied experience of emotional response.
Yes.
And that it took, because I was so shut down, it actually took the little fun guys to lead me into that place where I was able to bypass the intellectual rationalization and defense mechanisms. So that's why I asked that question, because I was curious.
Yeah, absolutely. And in Whistler,
there
was a lot of mushrooms around, and I can remember experiencing times where it allowed me to kind of open up more into my body. But for me personally, it wasn't until that trigger with my dad that made me just completely drop into a place that was so sacred.
Wow.
And so vulnerable.
Yeah.
That it was like I'd found this little secret.
Wow. And so you were able to hold yourself through that? Or did it feel like you were falling apart?
Yep.
Or?
Yep, it did. But it's a good question, because underneath it, it was like I had discovered this little secret, you know, that I was kind of like, wow, thanks, Dad. I've just discovered something about myself. And then from there, that's what I integrate now when I work with people. It's really powerful for me, and I kind of bring it into my work.
So did you find that after that experience, you were able to intuit or feel your clients more deeply?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah.
Would you even call it like a clear? You know how there's clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient. Like just clairsentience is the one where it's just direct knowing. You just know stuff.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever thought about it in those terms.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Like in the past, as a child, you know, going back to that question, as a child, I've always felt quite intuitive. When I went through that own kind of experience with my dad, after seeing clients, things were just kind of like ping, 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 ping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons I invited you to come on the show is because I've had 2 or 3 massages with you, and like I've never had massage with any other practitioner that has taken me into such a deep place. Like when you're working with me, I feel like I go on a psychedelic journey.
Awesome.
And and I can really feel your power and how you're holding that space, and it feels to me like you're channeling, which then kind of triggers my own ability to channel.
Nice.
And
I
wouldn't even necessarily call it massage. And some, I mean, it is. But when you're working with me, there's definitely other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I really like about working with clients, not just as a naturopath, but when we go back to that embodiment.
Yeah.
You know, and so many people, we're so overloaded with information, right?
Yeah.
So it's like information overload. So it's really easy to come a bit like a spiritual soldier, really, and kind of like march along with all these concepts. But for me, the real work is embodiment.
Yeah.
And so when I get people on the
it's like you're holding a lot of love, and that allows me to really soften and let go, and it's almost as if I drop down through the layers of reality and begin. It's like I go down into the unconscious and I get taken on journeys.
Yes.
I remember 2 times ago when I had a session with you,
Yeah.
the last 10 minutes it was like I went whoom, and I dropped in to a level of embodiment that I'd forgotten I was capable of.
Nice.
Oh, you were back on. Yeah, I came home and I was like, shit, I feel like I've just done a week of yoga.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome.
So that's why I love coming to you. I mean, I'm like, I got to go see you at least once a month.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it allows me to access, even though I have all my practices.
Absolutely.
I do all of that stuff.
Yes.
But there's something about surrendering on the table that feels really delicious. Yeah.
Nice. And also, I think what's interesting is, and what Kara-Leah's just touched on there, is that, you know, you've got your practices, but I find human contact is almost like a door that can open you into, to make you allow you to go deeper.
That's a really, that's a really good point.
Yeah, and so it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about where you're at.
Yeah.
But simply there's another human contact that is kind of going, I'm here too. I'm with you here.
And actually when I had that particular massage, I probably hadn't had a lot of contact.
Got you.
Because I'd been single for a very long time.
Yes.
You know, I mean, obviously my son and I hug, and I hug friends, but just that kind of sustained body contact.
Yes, it's so empowering.
So important. It's so nourishing.
So nourishing.
Yeah,
that's right. And that's what I noticed. Like for me, when I have my hands on people, it is all about, I am meditating the whole time.
That's what I feel.
Yeah.
That's what I feel with you. Like I've obviously had other massages, but there's such a different presence.
Yes.
And because you're bringing that presence, it creates a space where literally magic can happen.
Nice. You know? Yes. And that's where, you know, when I talk to my clients about getting getting back into your bliss.
Yeah.
You know, it's like quite often people get off the table and they'll message me the next day and go, oh, I've finally been able to get my head around something that was stuck. So whereas before we try to come at it, and I've experienced this myself, it's like we've tried to come at it when we're kind of not sitting in that place of alignment.
Yeah,
you know?
and trying to come at it from the head.
Yeah,
Whereas
that's right.
Come into presence and everything just unfolds.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read this comment and see. Awesome, sounds, yay. Thank you, Isabel. Good comment. Yes, she's liking this. And anyone watching, if you do have any questions or comments, feel free to throw them in there, and we can answer questions. Okay, so you don't just have your own business, NourishMe. Will you do the naturopathy and the massage?
Yeah.
But you
and
work
the massage.
And the massage. I think you almost need a different name. It's like,
I know. Try being dyslexic and spelling naturopathy. It's challenging.
So you are dyslexic?
Yes.
How is that in business? Let's talk about that, right?
Hilarious. I've kind of learnt to get over myself.
Yeah.
But I used to write, so when people come to see me, I used to handwrite
client notes.
Yeah. And I can hardly read them myself. And then I'd go to give them a list of things that they had to do. And I'd be like, in my head, I'm like, Coryn, you know how to spell muesli. You can do it. You know how to spell muesli.
I struggle with muesli. So was it hard? Was it harder then to start your own business, run your own business for so many years? Was there a party that even went, I can't do this because I experienced dyslexia? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, the maths. Yeah. So I mix things up, and I think we've even experienced this. Like, my sisters tease me now. My whole family, they know this. Like, someone will say, right, here's the date, and I'll open my diary, and I'll actually put it on a different day. It's quite phenomenal how I kind of switch it around. Yeah. And so it can come across as looking really unprofessional.
Unprofessional.
Yep.
Right.
It can come across as I don't know my shit because, oh God, I've you know.
Yeah.
And so how I've got around that over the years is finally getting like a booking system that you actually recommended me. Yeah. Which is fantastic.
So good, huh?
Yeah. So that kind of stuff, I write my notes up on the computer.
Yeah.
So that, you know, and
spell
then I type
check and
it
grammar
out.
and readable.
Yep. And then the whole finance side of things, that's a block that I'm still working on. You know? And so for me, a lot of people in the, you know, the healing industry, you know, to me it's not so much about self-worth, but maybe it is, because there's this kind of block around how much I should charge people, you know, and then, you know, sending them invoices, and I've kind of made an excuse around it for me about being dyslexic. But if I sat underneath that,
right, it might not be that at all. Interesting.
I think that I'm using that as a bit of a story. Yeah. You know, I'm dyslexic, so I'm not good at, you know, sending invoices. Well, hello. I can send an invoice. Yeah. You know, why don't I send it straight away? It's not because I'm dyslexic. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So I'm kind of playing with that at the moment.
Cool.
Around my business, and leading on to that, I've gone into business with my sisters. Yeah. And that's amazing because one of my sisters, Ginny, she used to be an accountant.
Handy.
Yeah.
So does she handle the accounts of a sister trio is the name of that bit. So there's three sisters in business together. Yeah. Yeah. And we're called Sister Trio, and we've all got these crazy different skills. Yeah. You know, and so it's coming together amazingly. You know, Tony, she's got the marketing background, and she's what we call our mainstream sister. So test things on her. Yeah, perfect.
You know?
Yeah.
Things like, you know, what does it mean to find your bliss? What does it mean to get back in your body? Sometimes it's like, well, where the hell do I even start with that information? Yeah. You know, what does that look like to me? How is it relevant, and how the hell do I do it?
Yeah, because you need to know who you're talking to, who your audience is, what language they use, and how things, and I struggle with that sometimes because I feel like I'm out of the mainstream, whatever that even means. I mean, that's an arbitrary separation. Maybe we're mainstream now. Yeah. We could be it. High five, sister. But yeah, knowing who we're talking to and how to talk to them.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. And you're not going to resonate with everyone, right? No. You know, but you know, so the whole business with my sisters is, it's all about passion coming from where I've wanted to go with NourishMe and bringing it together with my sisters and actually running retreats, pretty much all about connection and what it looks like to be disconnected. How does it impact the body? How does that impact the mind? And I'm so passionate about that. And as a naturopath, you know, I can talk to the cows come home about how that physically impacts the body.
Right, being disconnected.
You know? Yes.
From your own self.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, a small example of that is being disconnected, increasing your stress hormones. Stress hormones increasing inflammation in the body. Inflammation being increased in the body, dis-ease.
Right.
And so, you know, I can blow that puppy up and talk about that for a whole day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So I see that if you sort out the disconnection at the root, then all of a sudden if you're connected, then you're less stressed, then there's less inflammation, and then there's less disease.
You got it, sister.
I like it. I like it. I'm all about connection.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So, and that presents itself differently for different individuals, right? Depending on our genetics, depending on our own stories, depending on, you know, what we're eating and what we're not eating, you know, so that, you know, it can present itself differently. And when I say that, someone can have, you know, the underlying thing is still the stress and the disconnection, but someone could be presented with autoimmune, someone could present with cancer, someone could present with heart disease, yes?
Right.
Someone could present with diabetes.
So the external symptoms are all different, but you track back down and then it's like, same. Yeah.
And so what we're doing as a naturopath is when someone comes along to see me, of course they want their symptoms to be looked after, yes? And sometimes a lot of naturopaths just focus on those symptoms. But if we want to go downstream and we want to filter right down to the cellular influence, yes, that's what we want. That's the core, that's the juice, that's the change, that's epigenetics, that's perception, that's
all that good stuff. I love it.
So cellular, you know, your perception they
impacts
now know.
the cells.
Yes.
Oh,
you know,
all right. We have a question from Isabel.
Oh,
so she's at home recovering from a. Can you read that word?
Laparoscopic gallbladder removal.
Any useful aromas, oils, foods, or massages, etc., that you would recommend for healing?
So
gallbladder removal.
Gallbladder removal is big, and when you're in the first zone of just recovery. What I would recommend is really healing warm broths, like bone broths full of gelatin, because that's very healing on the whole digestive tract, right? Warming foods, you know, so that because when you have an operation, it's a stress, it's a trauma.
Yeah, it's invasive, right?
It's very invasive, and so cut out all refined foods, all processed foods, anything that's going to put extra pressure on the liver. Because the liver's going to have to step up now a little bit more because your gallbladder's been taken out, okay? So your body has to learn how to break down fats in a slightly different way. It has to learn how to kind of cope without, you know, this organ. So, Isabel, what I would suggest is, to start off with those very nurturing, nourishing foods, warming soups, bone broths. Eat your food really slowly and have small amounts of food. Cut out with the nutrition. Try that stuff and be really nourishing to yourself, you know. So you're helping with those stress, you know, hormones. Because what you're going to remember is the stress hormones ultimately affect the gut. And your gut needs to be in a really good place at the moment.
Pour the love in, Isabel. Just pour the love in.
Yeah.
And I'd have my hands. Where's the gallbladder? Where would it have been?
So I think it's next to, what side is it? One or the other?
Liver's on the right side, right? But I would literally have my hands there and just really inhale into the heart space, and as you exhale, pour the love through your hands.
Beautiful.
And just lie there and do that.
Absolutely.
Those small subtle things can be so amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And that's interesting because Bruce Lipton. Do you know Bruce Lipton?
Yeah, I know Bruce Lipton's work. Yeah.
So I love Bruce Lipton's work, and he's a scientist, and he talks a lot about epigenetics, and a bit like Joe Bonanza as well. And so a lot of this, you know, when we're looking at ourselves, like with healing and what have you, is literally imagining going inside your body like you've got a camera.
Yeah.
You know, And sometimes I do that with clients on the table. I don't know if I've done that with you yet, like as far as just going in and actually picturing the connective tissue, picturing your organs, just picturing them and just looking at kind of just sort of stretching them out a little bit. Because whenever there's tension and stress, surgery, the connective tissue, everything just goes eek. Yeah? So the blood flow stops. Yeah, so this is connective tissue. So we want to kind of just imagine that kind of lengthening. And it's really powerful. Probably quite hard to explain now if you've never done it before.
Yeah,
you know?
But for those that have done a bit of visualization or meditation, to just go, right, I'm just going to go and imagine and visualize and see my inner body.
Yeah, totally. Get
in
hello.
there.
Get in there. Yeah. Get down and dirty in there.
Yeah.
Have a party in there.
Yeah. So just wrapping back around to working with your sisters, I imagine, does that bring up a few challenges? Do you guys get into arguments?
It's hilarious. It's so funny.
The shit comes up.
Oh, shit comes up.
Yeah.
And I wish we could sometimes video some of the stuff that comes up because
you could.
We could.
You could do a Facebook Live.
So good. But we're really close. And, you know, as sisters, obviously, we all have our roles.
Right. Yeah, peacemaker and
rebel.
And,
that's the one, yes. And antagonist or whatever it is. And we have kind of decided as sisters, probably not even verbally talking about it, but allowing not to hold each other in those roles in terms of being able to, because that's what I find. I don't know if you guys find this, but do you find that when you get to a point in your life where you're going, holy crap, I don't need to be like that, and the family are going, yes you do, yes you do.
Yeah. It's those projections that we might have moved on, but other people are still projecting me that way, and we feel it, so then we feel obligated, and then we're like, no, but I'm not that way anymore, but
yeah, totally, right?
Yeah.
And so what I love about working with my sisters is they'll call me on my shit, man. And it's hilarious because there's nowhere to hide. Because I can be a bit of a charmer and I can be quite kind of like, yeah, I'll get around this one.
You got ways.
Not with my sisters. And so it's been really interesting because especially working with Ginny, she likes structure. And within that structure, what I'm learning is within that structure, she loves the flexibility. But when I first started working with her, I'm like, oh, screw your structure, girlfriend. So I'm going to run the show.
I flow. It's all about the flow.
It's all about the flow. All right. Yeah, and then I learn after running day retreats and weekend retreats with Ginny. It's like, wow, there's a real need for that container to have those beautiful kind of, you know, boundaries, but also that structure, which I'd kind of poo-hooed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm so intuitive.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. So now it's so funny. The other day we were having a Skype meeting and I said to Ginny, I'll make a list. And she goes, are you shitting with me? I'm like, I am not. I'm seriously not shitting with you here. I want to make a list.
Evolution.
I know.
Being able to be where you need to be without being attached to being a certain way.
Yeah, it's very cool. So it's awesome, and our own stuff's coming out.
Yeah.
You know, and we're able to talk about it, and it's fun. Like the other day, I was having a meeting at Jenny's house, and we're brainstorming, and I'm a great brainstormer. And usually Ginny gets my download and she structures it. And this particular day, she was just like, is anyone home? You know, and so she was lying on the ground and I'd be talking to my other sister and then I'd turn around and be like, Ginny!
She wasn't playing her role for you.
She wasn't playing her role. She's like, I'm thinking. So they had this hilarious, and then sure enough, I kind of walked away kind of going, and then, but the next day, there she goes, worked her magic and just threaded through this beautiful structure and information that I was just kind of going blah, 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 blah. So I am so grateful that she's got that skill and it's something that I'm learning from her, you know?
Yeah. You know what it sounds like to me is that you've done enough, the three of you probably separately have done enough personal work that you recognise that when the shit comes up that it's an opportunity to grow and evolve. So it sounds like you've already got that understanding that it's not about who's right and who's wrong.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fun.
Yeah, because then you can actually use the fact. I mean, sisters working together.
Yeah.
Like I can just imagine if you've got that cognizance around, oh, we're here to evolve together.
Yes, that's the one.
You're on the super fast track.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we bring that into our retreats.
I bet you do. Yeah.
Yeah, and what we've realised when we're working with, our people on our retreats.
Because it's mostly women you work with.
Mostly women.
Yeah.
But what keeps on coming up for people is, I'm not enough.
I swear, like every single person I know, that's like this universal download that in Western society we have received this message that I reckon I'd like to blame capitalism. Capitalism, would you step forward, please? Right?
Yeah, take a big step forward.
Take a big step forward, capitalism. Because of all the things that's what has to be uninstalled.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree. And do you know, it's interesting because for me, as a naturopath and my fascination with epigenetics and cellular, getting right down to the cell and our biology and how we're wired, I asked the question, how did it serve us to have that thought?
Oh, right, to have that belief that we're not enough. To have
that belief. How did it serve us back in the day when we're still wired the same in terms of the fight, flight, freeze response? Yeah. And that whole, the brain's kind of like, I'll stick in my subconscious, it's more safer. If I sit into my consciousness, that's going out of the cave as a metaphor.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
But I don't know if we had that belief back in the day. My sense is that it's a fairly new phenomenon, that it's a Western modern thing, this idea of being not enough. Yep, that we have to prove ourselves or we have to be something. I mean, society has changed radically in the last 100 years, 200 years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We were all living in villages.
Yes, community.
300, 400 years ago, and there was no choice of what to be.
Yes.
You were simply what your parents had been. And if you're a woman, well, there ain't much choice at all.
That's right.
You're a housewife.
Yep.
And if you happen to be a herbalist, you had a high chance of being burned at the stake.
I laugh nervously because, that's a reality.
You couldn't, if you were doing what you're doing now, 400 years ago, you would be highly at risk.
Yeah, I would. And that's even what my son said to me the other day. He mentioned that. He goes, Mum, you know how you help people and you're a herbalist? Because, we talk about the past. And it's like, he was kind of like, so really? And I'm like, yeah. And it's interesting when you're explaining a concept, or not a concept, the truth.
The truth.
To a child. And it makes you kind of realise, like, that's what happened.
Yeah, the church basically threatened by women's power.
Yes.
So I don't know how many million, there was millions of people murdered.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think you've got a really good point there because, and thank you for bringing that up, because it's like, for me, I always tend to go back to, okay, well, how's it serving us on a biological level? Yeah. But the reality is when the church came along and said, don't trust your bodies.
Right, they cut us off from the body.
Do not trust your bodies.
Your body is evil, it is sinful.
It's like, this is a no-go zone, people.
People didn't even get naked in front of themselves. I'm serious. Like, women would get changed in such a way that they never saw themselves naked.
So that, I think, that has just got such an impact on us. Isn't it?
It totally has. Yeah. We've come a long way.
We have.
Even in the last 50 years.
Yes.
I mean, the pill was a massive revolution for women in the 60s. Control over conception.
Yes.
Yep.
Even though we've got a long way to looking at how that still influences the body.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole. We could.
A whole nother rabbit hole.
We will leave the pill alone.
So it kind of, that's where the work's coming from. It's like, you're not good enough. I'm not good enough. That would be amazing because I think that, that's at the bottom of everything. That's at the bottom of what I do. That's at the bottom of my stories when I drill underneath them and see where the stories and where the triggers are coming from. Yeah. It's that fear. So I'm not enough.
Yeah. And then all the actions and behaviours that come out of it to attempting to prove something.
Yes.
And that has a certain energy behind it.
That's right.
Or we're looking for validation. It has a certain energy.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Good stuff.
Juiciness.
Hey? Yeah.
Epic. I know you and I could talk for a long, long time.
Yes.
For
Are
so
there
long.
any other...
Any final questions out there before we sign off? So if any questions on...
Isabel's, I am so up for that. Thanks so much. Awesome.
Yeah, nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anything you want to say to wrap up? Any final words on your journey, on your retreats with your sister trio business or massage, naturopathy? I got it. Naturopathy.
Nice. Naturopathy.
Yeah.
I think just to wrap it up is you're not alone. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, you are not alone. And we're all in this together. And we're humans having a human experience. And this is not about freaking perfecting your spiritual quest or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's another cul-de-sac. It's another identity that we get.
Totally.
Yep.
Another cul-de-sac.
It's another cul-de-sac. I'm going to be the perfect spiritual person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that then makes people feel isolated.
Yeah.
Right? And when we feel isolated, we start going down that kind of, I have experienced going down that whole, but then when I kind of go, okay, I'm not going to focus on that right now. I'm going to focus on doing what makes me feel great, what I feel passionate about, what I feel joyful about.
Yeah.
You know, finding my bliss and finding that with other people.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably how I want to wrap it up, because I think sometimes we can become very individualized around our own work, and then we can get lost in it, you know? And yeah, so to wrap that up is like finding what really makes you go, la.
Yeah.
And do more of it.
I like it. Coryn, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yay, thank you.
Epic.
Yeah.
That's a wrap, people.
Yeah.
Over and out. Oh, and next week, I've got Ginny on.
No way. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I thought that's
Yay.
perfect timing. So
Yes.
next week, Ginny Jackson, who is part of Sister Trio with Coryn, will be joining.